बिस्मिल्लाहिर्रहमानिर्रहीम अस्सलातु वस्सलामु अलैका या रसूलल्लाह अस्सलातु वस्सलामु अलैका या हबीबल्लाह व अला आलिका व अस्हाबिका या नूरल्लाह। इंशाअल्लाह ताला आज के इज्तिमा का आगाज़ करेंगे। थोड़े सा हम लेट हो गए हैं, बाहर आप लोग को पता है वेदर सही नहीं है, बारिश है काफ़ी, तो लोग काफ़ी दूर दूर से आ रहे हैं। कोई नायग्रा फॉल्स से आ रहा है, हिमिल्टन से आ रहे हैं, मिल्टन से, मार्कहम से, लेकिन सब रास्ते में हैं। तो इस वजह से थोड़ी सी डिले हो गया है प्रोग्राम, लेकिन इंशाअल्लाह प्रोग्राम का आगाज़ करेंगे। आगाज़ में सबसे पहले तिलावत कुरान पाक होगी। उसके लिए मैं अल्लामा साहब से गुजारिश करूँगा कि तशरीफ़ लेके आएँ और कुरान पाक की तिलावत से प्रोग्राम का आगाज़ करें।
अस्सलामु अलैकुम वरहमतुल्लाहि तआला वबरकातुहू। अऊज़ु बिल्लाहि मिनश शैतानिर रजीम। बिस्मिल्लाहिर रहमानिर रहीम। वद्दुहा वल्लैलि इज़ा सजा मा वद्दअका रब्बुका वमा क़ला वलल आखिरतु खैरुल लक मिनल ऊला वलसौफ युअतीक रब्बुक फतरदा अलम यजिदक यतीमन फआवा ववजदक ضالًا फहदा ववजदक आइला फअगना फअम्मल यतीम फला तक़हर वअम्मस साइल फला तन्हर वअम्मा बिनिअमति रब्बिक फहद्दिस। सदक़ल्लाहुल अज़ीम।
माशाअल्लाह माशाअल्लाह, जज़ाकल्लाह खैर। इंशाअल्लाह ताला अब हमदे बारी ताला होगी, उसके लिए मैं अवान को दावत दूंगा। ये मोस्टली जो प्रोग्राम है यंगस्टर्स के लिए है और ज़ाहिर बात है हम बड़ों को सीखने में भी मौका मिलेगा। तो मैं हमदे बारी ताला की इसलिए सामने आ जाए बेटा।
من طالعاته والليل دجان وفراته नूर सहर चेहरे से तेरे और शब की जुल्फों से अल्लाहु अल्लाह 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 कंजुल करमी मौलन नेआमी हादिल शरीअती नेमत के खज़ीना है मौला उम्मत के और रहनुमा है शरीयत के। अल्लाहु 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 अल्लाह अल्लाहु अल्लाहु अल्लाह। साते शजरू नतक़ल हजरू शक्कल कमरू बि इशारतिही। उंगली के इशारे पैर चले इजाज़त से पत्थर बोल उठे और चांद हुआ दो टोकरे अंगूश के इशारे से। अल्लाहु 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 अल्लाह अल्लाहु अल्लाहु अल्लाह। जिब्रीलु आता लैलत असरा والرب ضعاف لهدغته। जिब्रील आमी पैगाम खुदा लेकर आए शबे आसरा। अल्लाह ने अर्श पे बुलवाया कुर्बत का शरफ उनको बख्शा। अल्लाहु 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 अल्लाह।
माशाअल्लाह माशाअल्लाह, जज़ाकल्लाह खैर। अब नात रसूल मक़बूल सल्लल्लाहु अलैहि वसल्लम के लिए दावत दूंगा अफ़ान को कि तशरीफ़ लेके आएँ और नात रसूल मक़बूल सल्लल्लाहु अलैहि वसल्लम का नजराना पेश करें।
अस्सलामु अलैकुम व रहमतुल्लाहि व बरकातुहू। सल्लल्लाहु अलैका या रसूल अल्लाह व सल्लम अलैका या हबीब अल्लाह। हबीबे खुदा का नज़ारा करूं मैं दिलो जान उन पर निसारा करूं मैं। हबीबे खुदा का नज़ारा करूं मैं दिलो जान उन पर निसारा करूं मैं। मेरा दीनो ईमान फरिश्ते जो पूछे, मेरा दीनो ईमान फरिश्ते जो पूछे तुम्हारी ही जानिब इशारा करूं मैं। हबीबे खुदा का नज़ारा करूं मैं। ये एक जान क्या तेरे नाम पर सबको आरा करूं मैं, हबीबे खुदा का नजारा करूं मैं। तेरा नाम पर सर को कुर्बान करके, तेरा नाम पर सर को कुर्बान करके, तेरे सर से सदके उतारा करूं मैं, हबीबे खुदा का नजारा करूं मैं क्यों गैर की ठोकरें खाने जाऊं, मैं क्यों गैर की ठोकरें खाने जाऊं, तेरे दर से अपना गुजारा करूं मैं, हबीबे खुदा का नजारा करूं मैं, हबीबे खुदा का नजारा करूं मैं, दिलो जान उन पर निसारा करूं मैं।
माशाअल्लाह, जज़ाकल्लाह खैर। नाज़रीन और हाज़रीन, हमारे इर्द गिर्द का माहौल, बच्चा जो भी सीखता है अपने माहौल से सीखता है। सबसे पहली दरसगाह होती है उसकी माँ की गोद, पेरेंट्स। अगर घर का माहौल अच्छा हो और दीनदार हो तो बच्चा घर से सबसे पहले सीखता है। उसके बाद मस्जिदों का माहौल होता है कि जो माँ बाप पेरेंट्स मेहनत करते हैं और बच्चों को मस्जिद लेके आते हैं, वो माहौल देते हैं, तो वो उससे सीखता है। आप लोग को पता है यहाँ के स्कूल, कॉलेज, यूनिवर्सिटियों का क्या माहौल है। और माहौल का असर ये होता है कि आप अगर एक लोहे को मखनातीस के साथ रखें, मैग्नेट के साथ रखें, तो उस लोहे में वो तासीर खुद ब खुद पैदा हो जाती है जो मैग्नेट में होती है। तो यही इसी तरह जो माहौल का असर होता है वो बच्चों पे इसी तरह अफेक्ट करता है। हमारे साथ मौजूद हैं अल्लामा बिलाल अत्तारी कादरी साहब। तो इंशाअल्लाह मैं उनसे दरख्वास्त करूँगा कि आज के मौजू के हिसाब से इंशाअल्लाह मैं उनको दावत दूंगा बयान के लिए। बिलाल अत्तारी साहब।
अल्हम्दुलिल्लाहि रब्बिल आलमीन वस्सलातु वस्सलामु अला सय्यिदिल मुरसलीन अम्मा बाद फ़अऊज़ु बिल्लाहि मिनश शैतानिर रजीम बिस्मिल्लाहिर रहमानिर रहीम। Please repeat after me. As-salatu was-salamu alayka ya Rasulullah wa ala alika wa ashabika ya Habiballah. As-salatu was-salamu alayka ya Nabiyallah wa ala alika wa ashabika ya Nurallah. There are many virtues of reciting durood upon the beloved Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. For example, the beloved Rasul sallallahu alaihi wasallam has stated, "Awla an-nasi bi yawm al-qiyamati aktharuhum alayya salatan," that the closest one to me on the day of judgment will be the one who recited the most durood upon me. So with love and respect, let's recite durood upon the beloved Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Sallu ala al-habib sallallahu ta'ala ala Muhammad sallallahu ta'ala alayhi wasallam. So respected brothers and our viewers, first session today is going to be about refuting atheism. Okay, in this session inshallah azza wa jal, we'll talk about some common questions, and These questions will be basic first, and then inshallah, when we have the Q&A session later, you can ask your questions if you have any. Okay, but in this session we'll discuss the commonmost objections that come against Islam or any other religion. But obviously, since we're Muslims, we're going to talk about Islam today. And secondly, inshallah, we'll give you proofs that why do we believe that Allah Azza wa Jal exists? Why do we have to believe in a creator? Okay, and inshallah Azza wa Jal, these are going to be logical proofs that any proper sane person can understand, inshallah. So first, we'll talk about I'll tell you the few questions you may face in the society. Are the slides visible?
Yeah.
Okay. The first question they ask is, how can we believe that God exists? That's the first question they say. Okay. Second question is, why do we have to believe that the universe was created by someone who is uncreated? Okay. And then third is, these are the two main questions. Okay. Now, to answer them, firstly, the point is that if you look at the world, look around you, you will see that the system that we have around us is perfect, okay, without any flaws. Okay, and I'll give you an example for this, for you to understand what we're trying to say here. That let's say, you're either students, or you may have seen students, or you may have been a student in your life. Okay, the world has changed. We're living in a modern era. Okay, many people, they take different courses. Okay, the IT sector is like on the rise. People are learning new programming languages. People are trying to develop things. People are trying to invent things. Okay, but one thing that is common in everybody, every student, even an adult, is that the hardest thing for us to do is to create something. Okay, now obviously you may think, okay, no, it's not that hard, but think about it. For example, there's a science fair. Okay, in schools we do science fairs, right? Even if the student who's taking a part in the science fair, even if he is super intelligent, he is top of his class, he's a genius. Okay, but still, until the last minute, until he presents the project, right? He cannot be sure if it's going to work or not. He always has this, issue. He always has this anxiety. He's anxious. He has this tension that, am I ever going to make it? Okay, I made the project, but I don't know if it's going to work or not. Okay, same thing for any person in the job field. Okay, if you have a job, you have to make presentations and stuff. Okay, until you're done presenting it, you cannot be at ease. You always have this worry. The what if something goes wrong? What if there's a technical error? What if there's this? What if there's that? You always have these questions. And for example, ask the Islamic sisters at your house, right? They have been cooking for so long, right? Even the most experienced people, right? Our Islamic sisters, whenever they're cooking, until the last minute, I'm sure you have seen this, you've experienced it, until the last minute, they're really worried. Like if you have to prepare a meal for like a get-together, right? Until the last minute you're scared. What if something goes wrong? What if the salt is too much? What if the spices are too much? What if they're too less? Up or down, right? This is all like a tension for everybody, right? Until the food is made, okay, there is no guarantee it's going to be good or not, right? Until you taste it. So point is that even after so much success, even after so much growth that the mankind has done over the past few decades, still we have this fear in our hearts that, whatever we're trying to make, it may not work. Okay? But look at the system around us. Okay? The sun rises from the east. Everybody knows that. Okay? Never have we seen that, there's a technical error. Today the sun is not going to rise. Okay, you may have seen in humans that, even the biggest of the biggest chefs, for example, they put too much salt or too less salt or too much spices or less spices, something goes wrong. It's possible. Even the most experienced, programmers, they mess up and the program fails. Okay, even the most, experienced technicians, they make a mistake and the equipment fails. We have seen all these things. But have you ever heard in the history of mankind that the sun declined to rise up from the east? Okay, the miracles of the prophets do not count. They're supposed to be like this. But in general, okay, that the sun today says, no, I'm not going to rise up from the east. Okay, the sun sets at the west. Okay, never have we seen, okay, the sun decides, okay, I'm not going to set today. Okay, I'm just going to stay. No, right? This never happens. And similarly, you see that, for example, the phases of the moon. Okay, the moon starts as a crescent, then it becomes full. Okay, waxing and waning, you must have learned this. Okay, the moon becomes full around the 14th night of the lunar cycle. Okay, you never see a crescent on the 14th night of the lunar cycle. Okay, my point is again that this system never fails, right? This is a perfect system. All of this cannot be a coincidence. Okay, if you think about it, right? Anything, like for example, I have a cup in front of me, right? You cannot say that, oh, this is popped up coincidentally. No, anything you have, you will say, okay, I will ask you, where did this come from? You will tell me it came from the store. Okay, where did it come from? From over there. You will say it came from the manufacturing facility. Okay, meaning point is that if you go back, if you backtrack, you will come to the point that someone has created this. Okay, so my point is that in this perfect system, when we take a look around us, okay, for example, one more thing, that if you look in the oceans and the seas, okay, like for example, if we jump into the ocean, okay, we'll go downwards. Okay, if you don't know how to swim, you'll drown. Okay, but look at the ship. Okay, the ship does not drown. The ship goes and floats on the water. Okay, the system. Allah Azza wa Jal has created the system. So that's the point, that if you look at this perfect system, our things fail. Our creations, the things that we create, okay, they can fail. They have no guarantee to work. Anybody that makes anything today, no matter how experienced he is, he's never going to give you a guarantee that this is guaranteed to work until they test it, until they run through few tests, until they have a quality control and everything. Okay, but while they're creating it, there's no guarantee. Okay, but the system that we have in front of us, okay, if we look around us, if we observe the nature, you will see that everything is made in a systematic way, and it follows that system. It's bound to follow the system without failure. Okay, this perfect system tells us that there is a creator. Another thing is that there is a famous story about Imam Abu Hanifa rahmatullahi ta'ala alayhi, that a few disbelievers of God, of a creator, they came up to Imam Abu Hanifa rahmatullahi ta'ala alayhi, and they said that, prove to us the existence of a creator, otherwise we'll kill you. So Imam Abu Hanifa says, okay, I have a question. First you answer my question, then I'll answer your question. So Imam Abu Hanifa asks them that, for example, I saw a ship being built on its own. How? The tree, nobody chopped the wood, the tree got chopped into wood by itself. Okay, the woods, they assembled automatically into a proper place. It became a ship. Okay, then from the land, it went into the sea automatically. Then it started flowing automatically without a driver, without a sailor. Okay, and then whatever cargo was on the ship, it got disloaded by itself automatically. Okay, would you believe me? Okay, those people started laughing. They said that we thought you're the Imam of Muslims, Imam Azam Abu Hanifa, and you're saying something so absurd. So Imam Abu Hanifa says that if you cannot believe that a small ship can be just built on its own, and it can float on its own, it can sail on its own, and it can disembark the cargo on its own, then how can you believe that this entire world, such a big world with mountains, with trees, with oceans, with land, with grass, all these things, they're made on its own? How can you believe that? It's irrational. Okay, point is that the common sense does not accept that something can be made out of nothing. Okay, that it just popped up. This is just absurd according to common logic. Okay, think about it. Any existence, anything that exists, has three possibilities. Okay, and you can see these three over here. One possibility is it just popped up out of nowhere. Okay, second possibility is that it created itself. Okay, and the third possibility is that it was created by someone. The first two possibilities are irrational. Okay, and this is the ayat of the Quran as well, from Surah Tur. Allah Azza wa Jalla says, "Am khuliqu min ghayri shay'in." That have they not been created with some source? Meaning, for example, that do they think they have been created from nothing? Am humul khaliqun, or do they think that they are the creators of themselves? Now, think about it. Both of these things, the first two possibilities, they are absurd. They're irrational. Okay, for example, I have a cup in front of me. You cannot say that it just popped up on its own. Okay, no, you will have to tell me that there is some creator. Somebody created this. Okay, obviously you won't say that this created itself. Okay, nobody can create themselves, right? Because this is just like an infinite cycle. If you create yourself, then what were you before you created yourself, right? This does not make sense. Okay, the third possibility is the only thing that makes sense. That whatever exists has to be created by someone. Okay, and you can apply this to anything, right? For example, let's say you're alone in a room. Okay, the room, you have a room, nothing, no objects in there. You're just alone sitting in an empty room. Okay, you close your eyes for 10 minutes. And now you open your eyes. Okay, and you see a table over there. Right? Now, if I ask you, where did that table come from? Okay, just look at the possibilities. Will you say it just popped up out of nowhere? Okay, no. Right? Will you say, oh, this table brought itself in this room? Obviously, no. Right? Was it brought by someone? Yes, it has. That's the only possibility. It has to be brought by someone, right? While I was closing my eyes, while my eyes were closed, okay, somebody brought in this table and put it over there. Okay, it's not possible that it just popped out of nowhere. Okay, it's not possible that the table created itself and brought itself here. That's not possible either. There's only the third possibility, that it was created by someone. Okay, again, I'm trying to prove logic to you, that these things are logical. Okay. For example, this thing, we talked about this as well, that nothing cannot give you something. Okay, for example, you have 0, right? 0 means nothing. Okay, 0 plus 0 is also 0, right? Nothing and nothing cannot give you something, right? So there has to be someone who created this world, who created everything, in order for us to, worship Him, in order for us to, live in this world. So point is that all of these things are logical. And if you go deep into the concept of coincidence, okay, like many people say, oh yeah, there was a big bang that just automatically happened and everything got into shape automatically. Okay, if you say that all of these things are a coincidence, then the point is that it can go away on its own too. For example, if the world was coincidentally built, if all of us that are here, if we're coincidentally here, it was not planned, then we can just vanish. But ask yourself, have you seen people vanish automatically? Have you seen, things vanish automatically? No. There has to be a reason for them to disappear. So, point is that coincidence, if it happened the first time, what is preventing it from happening again? If the world can come into existence once, it can go out of existence again, right? Think about it, like what do we say is a coincidence? Like coincidentally, me and my friend, we both were at the store at the same time. Okay, this is coincident. Okay, but see, this is not only once in a lifetime thing. Okay, today you met your friend Zed, for example, at the store. Tomorrow, some other coincidence may happen, and then day after tomorrow, a third coincidence will happen. Okay, coincident is not like a one-time thing, it keeps happening. So if people say that this universe was coincidentally made up, then why are things not disappearing coincidentally? Okay, so the concept of coincidence is really important. Okay, one really convincing proof that our Islamic scholars have given is the concept of infinite cycle. Okay, and the way this works is they ask you, they look at your existence. Okay, and listen carefully, this will help you. Look at your existence. Okay, you exist, you are present. I ask you that, how did you come into this world? Okay, you'll say because of my parents. Okay, where did your parents come from? You'll say their parents. Okay, and then their parents, and then their parents, and then their parents, and then their parents. Okay, point is that has to stop somewhere. Okay, you cannot keep going infinitely. Infinite cycle is rationally absurd, right? For example, let's say you have to ask yourself, you have to ask your supervisor about some permission. You have to get permission from him. Okay, so the supervisor says, ask my supervisor, and then he says, ask my supervisor, and ask my supervisor, and ask my supervisor. If this keeps going on, you will never be able to accomplish the task. Okay, so same thing. Look at your existence. Ask yourself that why do I exist? How do I exist? You will say my parents. How do they exist? Their parents, and their parents, and their parents. This cannot keep going up infinitely. It has to stop somewhere. Okay, and in our Aqidah it stops at Hazrat Sayyiduna Adam alayhi salam. Okay, how was he born? Allah Azza wa Jal created him from his qudrat. Okay, now this is where it stops. Okay, now it does not go back. There has to be a starting point of the world. Okay, there has to be a starting point of anything, right? For example, if you go to your manager and ask for some permission, he can say, okay, ask my supervisor, and this process has to stop in order to accomplish something. If they keep on saying, ask my supervisor, ask my supervisor, ask my supervisor, this is an infinite cycle which will never end. Okay, and think about one more thing. Let's say you're walking down the street and you see a series of dominoes falling towards you, right? What does the rational mind say? I see these dominoes falling. Okay, would you say that if I keep walking down the streets infinitely, I'll keep observing these dominoes infinitely? No. Your mind will tell you that there is a first domino that fell, and this is the reason for the domino effect, right? You will have to believe that there is that first domino that fell in order for other dominoes to fall. And this is what we believe as well. Infinite cycle does not make sense. Okay, if we believe that the dominoes are falling infinitely as we keep walking down the street, okay, this does not make sense. The common logic does not support this. This is irrational. We have to believe that there is that first domino, okay, and there is someone who knocked off that first domino, which is creating this domino effect. Okay, so these were some proofs, some logical explanations about how we have to believe in a creator. Everything in this world tells us that there is a creator, okay, and we gave you some logical proofs as well. Okay, so we can take questions now. Inshallah, if you have a question, you can raise your hand and ask. Walaikum salam.
The question is, when you said the cycle has to be stopped, and we believe that the cycle stopped under the Allama Islam, and the Allama Islam was created by Allah. So who created Allah?
MashaAllah.
If the cycle has to stop, then somebody is there to create Allah. We believe that Allah Ta'ala is there, and nobody created Allah. But those people who don't believe in Islam or don't believe in Allah, they say that somebody is there. If according to you, the cycle has to stop, then the cycle has to stop. Who created it? Allah.
Yes, the point is the cycle has to stop at a creator. Okay, like for example, you start the cycle from you. You're at the end of the cycle, right? If you keep going up, okay, and you look at the first being, first existence, right? Meaning the initial existence. Okay, now if you say, we believe that this initial existence is the creator. Initial existence is the creator. If you say there is someone above this creator, then that is the initial creator. Meaning it has to stop somewhere. You cannot keep going infinite.
That's why they don't believe that there is a God. If there is a God, then who created God? If there is another God, who created the second God? And who created the first God? The God. Exactly, there is no God. That's what they believe, that there is no God. If you believe that if there is a God, then the cycle will never stop.
No, that's what we are saying. If the cycle does not stop, then that is a fallacy, right? This does not make sense. For example, that if you're saying that if we believe in God, then this is gonna cause an infinite cycle. Because if you stop somewhere, then you're gonna say, okay, who created this creator? Then who created them? And then this. Yeah. But this is not what we're saying. We're saying that there has to be an initial creator, initially. Okay, if you say that there is someone on top of this creator, then that is the real creator. Okay, and then before that, like for example, these the evolution people, right? They say that everything came from an amoeba. Okay, and amoeba created everything. So according to their logic, amoeba is their creator, or initially, because they don't believe anything before the amoeba. Okay, so whatever, we have to stop somewhere, because infinite cycle does not make sense. There has to be someone who created. If you say that everything just popped up, then how? Okay, like for example, if you go to the first human, like okay, we're humans, right? If you go back in time, okay, backtrack, and then you go to the first human, who created that first human? Because we already proved that, we have to have a creator. Nothing can just pop up on its own. Who created that first human? Okay, that is the initial creator, okay, according to me. Now if someone argues that no, then who created him? And if they can prove that, okay, no, there is someone who created this being, then that first initial one is the creator. Okay, there has to be a stop. There has to be an ending point. It cannot go infinitely.
I guess that's why they don't believe in God, because they believe that.
One more thing is that somebody asked this question to Hazrat Ali radiallahu ta'ala anhu, that you say that everything was created by God. Then who created God? So Hazrat Ali radiallahu ta'ala anhu says, okay, do you know counting? So he said, yeah, I know how to count. So Hazrat Ali said, okay, tell me how to count. So he said 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So Hazrat Ali radiallahu ta'ala anhu says that go backwards. So the person says 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Okay, and then Hazrat Ali said, okay, go forward, go more. He said there is nothing before 1. So Hazrat Ali said, okay, also there is nothing before that 1.
SubhanAllah, mashallah.
So this is the point, that there has to be a stopping point.
Now it's clear.
So, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah. So, my question to you would be that we had a discussion about the Big Bang in the middle. Has it got any relation with the Noor of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam? Remember the Hadith Mubarakah that states the Noor of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam was created the first, and there were stages that the Noor developed to such and such stages, and the Kainat and the universe came into being. So, do we see the traces that the Big Bang comes in somewhere? And on top of this, like we discussed that the infinite cycle, we have the animals and vegetation as well at the same time. We just discussed the human being, right? Like Adam alayhi salatu wasalam and then the human chain. But what about the animals and the other creatures that we see? Does that work the same way that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala created one, or they're not mentioned for no reason? I mean, Allah knows the best, so how do we relate them to?
Yes, somebody asked this question. I'll answer the second question first. Somebody asked this to Ala Hazrat radiallahu ta'ala anhu, that, for example, who was the first animal or who was the first organism? So Allah Hazrat said the same thing, that whoever was, like whatever Allah Azza wa Jalla created first, like for example the first chicken, okay, so that is the first chicken, and then the nasl, the generation of chicken started from that first one. Same thing for cows, okay, whatever Allah Azza wa Jalla created the first cow, and then all the cows are from that generation. Okay, second thing you asked about the Big Bang and how does it relate to the Noor of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. In the hadith about the Noor of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, there is no mentioning of like a blast or any bang. But yes, our main source of knowledge should be Islam. And if science is in support with Islam, then we will believe it. Okay, there is no mentioning of the bang in the hadith. But yes, that is true that this is how maybe the scientists, they probably got some proof of that. That's how they came up with the idea of Big Bang, that everything was made by this. And according to us, we believe that yes, everything was made by the Noor of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Everything was made for the sake of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. And the thing is that Islam does not fully reject Big Bang either. If you say, for example, the Big Bang was caused by Allah Azza wa Jal, no problem, we don't mind. Okay, our only problem is that we don't believe the Big Bang was a coincidence. The coincidence, there was a bang and everything got into place by itself. That does not happen. I'm sure the kids, they have played the flip bottle challenge, right? You flip the bottle and it has to land, right? You must have played this. How many tries does it take you, right? You keep on flipping the bottle and then it does not land properly. So point is that it's irrationally absurd that only in one Big Bang everything got into place. This does not make sense. Okay, if you believe that yeah, Allah Azza wa Jal caused the bang and then everything according to Allah Azza wa Jal's plan, all these things got settled, we believe that, no problem. And even if all of those things were made from the Noor of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, we see this in the hadith. So we don't have a problem with Big Bang by itself. Our problem is not believing in a creator.
You got this. Do I place another question maybe?
Anybody going to ask questions?
Yeah, he's got the question. Then
Inshallah, we will continue till 12:20 for question answer, or 12:25. Then we have a short break for 10 minutes. So inshallah, then after we do some refreshment, then inshallah the next section will start. So 12:20, 12:25 is the limit for the question. Jazakallah khair.
Okay, so this argument, all it proves is like there's a creator, right? You need to like prove that the creator is Allah, right? So what would be your argument?
I mean, the creator is Allah. I don't think this is a debate, because
there's an argument like to prove that thing Allah is the creator. So it's the contingency argument, right? So you have to say like everything needs an independent being to survive, right? Because everything depends on an independent being. Like for example, in science, like it just says like it's depends on something. It keeps on going infinitely, right?
Right.
So it has to depend on an independent being, right? So then we have to prove like the independent being is Allah, not some other God, right? So yeah.
Yes. Basically, first, the way this works, we're only on the first stage right now, right? We're just trying to argue with those people that say that there is no creator. Okay, the way this process works is that first, once you believe that there is a creator, okay, then obviously now, okay, fine, we have to believe that there is a creator, but how do we know more about him? There has to be some representative that tells me, right? Like, for example, just to make this more clear, like, let's say you have not met me before, right? We're just talking on phone or on text, for example, right? And now you say, okay, I want to get to know you more. So I say, yeah, you know what, I live in the US, you live in Canada, let me send you a representative, I'll send you my messenger, right? This is what happens. So without any comparison, Allah Azza wa Jal, He has sent Anbiya, the prophets, alayhimus salam. Okay, and now how do we know that he is a prophet of Allah? The way this works is that he shows something that is against the norm, against the normal routine. Like, for example, if you look at the story of Hazrat Isa alayhi salam, okay, at that time there was a lot of focus on medical science. So there was a disease over there, leprosy, right, where you have white spots on your body, and it was uncurable at that time. But Hazrat Isa alayhi salam, he used to rub his hands over the people's hands or their body, and then that disease went away. Okay, this was against the routine that doctors, the big medical doctors, they cannot heal someone, and Hazrat Isa is healing them. He was able to resurrect the dead, okay, just by saying the name of Allah. Okay, so these things were just astonishing. We call them miracles, mu'jizat. Similarly, at the time of Hazrat Musa alayhi salam, there were a lot of magicians. Okay, they used to do magic, black magic, and Hazrat Musa alayhi salam, he showed them his miracles, and then their magic did not work in front of them. Similarly, at the time of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, okay, he showed the kafirs, he split the moon in half, and then he showed them the magic cannot work in the sky. Magic can only work in the land. So if this was magic, it would not work on the sky. So things like, now we believe that, okay, these are the prophets. Okay, and now whatever they tell us, we will believe it. Okay, so then they tell us the word of Allah. Like, for example, in our Shariat we have the Quran. So Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam came, he showed us miracles, he showed us mu'jizat, and then he gave us the Quran. So now we believe that, okay, this is the Quran and the creator is Allah. But the point is that this is not a debate that creator is Allah and not some other, because main point in this argument is that at least believe in we're trying to prove that there is a creator. Once they believe that there is a creator, then we can talk about next steps. The why is Islam the true religion. That's a different topic. And I gave you a brief summary of the whole chain, the how can we prove this. And obviously everything I stated, every step I said, has a lot of proofs under it. I just gave you a brief timeline, you can say. The first, you have to believe that there is a creator. The creator sends representatives who show mu'jizat, miracles, which we are bound to believe in, because otherwise that's the only logical explanation. And then whatever they tell us that this is the word of Allah, this is the word of the creator, we believe it. Okay, so we got the Quran and we saw that in the Quran in many places it says that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has created everything. Allah is our God.
Did the dinosaurs exist before?
Dinosaurs? There is no problem in believing that dinosaurs exist. Again, we have to at least believe in that Allah Azza wa Jal has created dinosaurs. Quran has no mentioning of dinosaurs. But yes, one interesting thing I will like to share with you, that Quran, according to the ayahs of the Quran, there is no mentioning of dinosaurs in the Quran. Okay, but in the tafasir, if you see, many tafasir, they mention the height of Sayyidina Adam alayhi salam. And I'm sure you must have seen on the internet that they have shown a depiction of the blessed kurta of Hazrat Adam alayhi salam. He was really tall, okay, hundreds of feet tall. Okay, like for example, our height is around 5-6 feet, humans today. Okay, Hazrat Adam alayhi salam, when he was sent into this world, according to some tafasir, his height was in hundreds of feet, right? And at that time, the animals were really big and tall as well. Okay, and in one tafsir it says that when Hazrat Adam alayhi salam came into this world, there was a dog that came to scare Hazrat Adam alayhi salam. Okay, so now think about it, Hazrat Adam alayhi salam was hundreds feet tall, and then obviously nowadays the dog are 2 feet. So you can imagine that if the dog was 2 feet and Hazrat Adam alayhi salam was 100 feet, the dog would look like an ant. Okay, so it seems like that the dog was also a really big creature. So according to the tafasir, it seems like yes, the dinosaurs must have existed. But yes, our belief is that Allah Azza wa Jal has created them, and if they went extinct, then no problem. No, there's no impossibility in this.
Is there anyone willing to ask questions? Any more questions, please?
Okay, so one important thing, since we are talking about the subject that can target the iman as well. So when we go home today, what do we take with ourselves? Like, I'm sure that through the logic we cannot discuss all the questions that rationally are raised normally by those people who are atheist or like they don't believe the existence of God. So for example, tomorrow there's somebody who just jumps into a debate for no reason. So what's my go? Do I actually debate, or do I just simply say, you know what, whatever you hold on to that. I got nothing to do with that. This is what my belief is, and this is what belief says. That amanna wa saddaqna, we just believe. Like, we don't have to go through the logic. Logic is something that you're basically limiting yourself. But belief is above the logic, right?
Right.
So what do we do in that case? Because kids are sat here, they're probably going to think, okay, since tomorrow on the YouTube or here and there somebody's talking to me, I'm going to jump into the debate giving them the answers. And one other aspect is, there's a concept of probabilities, right? And that sometimes they relate with the God as well. So do we pay attention to that as well?
The probabilities?
Yeah, probabilities, yes.
Okay, expand more. Like what?
I mean, they come up with the estimated results, like maybe this is going to happen, maybe this is going to happen through a game or through anything. And even this through the stars as well, you know, this Cancer, all of those stars for the week. So they trying to present it a way that these possibilities are so strong that you have to have a belief on them as well. Yeah, these predictions.
Fortune telling, astrology.
Exactly.
Yes, mashallah. So first thing that was asked was that what do we take away from this whole session? One thing is that Allah Azza wa Jal, in the first para, okay, Allah Azza wa Jal has mentioned this one kalima, one word, iman bil ghaib, okay, yu'minuna bil ghaibi, okay, that believing in the unseen, okay, we haven't seen Allah, okay, but we believe in Allah, and that is the basis of iman. This is what counts, okay. I don't know if you've heard the story of Fir'aun, okay, Pharaoh. What happened was that he did not believe in Allah. In fact, he used to say that I am God, Ma'azallah, Fir'aun. Okay, but when the time of his death came, he saw the azab with his own eyes, and this happens. Okay, you see the truth at the time of your death. Okay, at that time he said, I believe. Okay, now this does not count. Why? Because this is the test. Okay, this is the test. Seeing is believing, yes, true, I agree. But this is the test that we have to go through. This is why Allah Azza wa Jal sent us to the world, that we have to believe in the unseen. We have to believe Allah without seeing. See, Allah Azza wa Jal gave us proofs. Okay, that these are the proofs, these are the logical explanations about a creator. Then, there's no question of, argument over here. Now, you haven't seen Allah Azza wa Jal, but there are proofs, clear proofs that Allah Azza wa Jal exists. Okay, so like the brother asked, that if someone asks me or poses a question, what do? Do I debate with him? Do I not? I know we're running out of time, but I would really like to share this story with you. I was just scrolling through YouTube. This is, I think, last month. Okay, it's quite recent, and I was really shocked after I did more research on this. I was scrolling through YouTube and I saw there was a guy speaking. He was he looked like from the South Asian descent, like us, like Pakistani, Indian, Bangladeshi, right? And his name was also an Islamic name. Okay, I won't tell you his name because I don't want you to look him up. So, but if anybody wants to know about this person, you can come to me after the session, I'll tell you. Okay, but don't do more research on this. This is a really sad, unfortunate story. So his name was an Islamic name, okay, and he was holding a debate in some university in USA. Okay, so he was debating with I thought he was debating with some atheists or with some other religions. Okay, when I looked into his video, I saw that he was giving proofs against Islam, and I was quite confused. And in the beginning, I thought that he is raising questions as hypothetical questions. Like, for example, our first slide here, right? how can we believe that God exists, right? If someone takes it out of context, what he's going to think? He's going to think that I'm teaching you atheism, right? Okay, yeah, look, what is this guy teaching them? So that's what I thought. I thought he's posing questions in order to answer them. Okay, but down the video I saw that no, he's actually trying to prove these points about some other religion. Okay, so I did some research about this person, that who is he? Okay, turned out that he was a Christian. Okay, he was a Christian. And I was like, he looks like a Pakistani Indian person. And his name is Islamic as well. How is he a Christian? So and he's debating against Islam now. So I did more research on this person, and it turned out that this person, he told his own life story. He said that I was from a religious family, Islamic religious family. He was a Muslim before. I was from a religious family, and what happened was I was talking to other Christian people, and I was debating with them. And he was like, I felt really good debating with them, because the more I debated with them, the more stronger I felt in my faith, in my deen, because I would just shut them up. They had no answer. And they would, just go home crying, talk to their, religious leader and stuff. And I was like, yeah, Islam is truth. Okay, he said, when I went to college, okay, I asked a person the same question. I raised the same objection in front of that Christian person. And he gave me an answer, and I had no counter argument. And I was like, oh. And he says that's what opened my eyes. Okay, that this guy gave me a counter argument. I'm like, oh, well, what just happened? Because throughout his life, he thought that he's the best of the debaters. Right? He can just shut anybody up. But now when he went to college, okay, somebody just gave him a random answer. See, that's the thing, like our minds are limited. Okay, nobody can say I'm the smartest person on the earth, right? فَوْقَ كُلِّ ذِي عِلْمٍ عَلِيمٍ. This is, I think, the ayat of the Quran. Right, that above every knowledgeable person, there is another knowledgeable person. Right, you cannot say I'm the most genius in this world. Right, so our minds are limited. You may hear something that makes sense to you, but it's absurd in reality. This can happen all the time. Right, so this happened. That Christian person, he gave him an answer, and he just, he's like, oh yeah, that has a point. And then he started studying Christianity, and then slowly that guy lured him in, and this person became a murtad. He became an apostate. He gave up Islam, ma'azallah, and he accepted Christianity. Now he's debating against Islam. The same guy who used to debate for Islam, now he's debating against Islam. Why did this happen? Because he thought he's the biggest munazir. He is the biggest arguer. He can argue with the people, and he can, convince them. But what ended up happening? He ended up losing his own faith. Okay, so my suggestion would be that don't argue with these kind of people. There's no reason to argue. Okay, yes, you should give out your point. If someone argues or tries to convince you, don't listen to them. Okay, about Islam, don't listen to them. See, the main thing that Muslims have is the belief. Okay, if you have iman, okay, no matter how big of a sinner you are, Allah Azza wa Jal will send you to Jannah at the end of the day. Even if you end up going to hell because of your sins, okay, after serving the azab, you will end up going to Jannah. Okay, this is our belief, if you have iman. But if you don't have iman, no matter how apparently pious you are, nothing will matter, because iman is the basis. Iman is the first thing. Okay, the first question in the grave will be about iman, that who is your Lord, what is your deen, and what do you say about this blessed personality? These are the three questions that come up first thing after we die. Okay, so iman is the basis. The most important thing for a Muslim is iman. We cannot lose our iman. Okay, think about it. When we have our valuables, how much we protect them. Okay, like when you have a few dollars, okay, you're like, okay, you keep checking your pocket, that, oh, is my wallet still there? Are my keys still there? Okay, where did I leave my phone? Okay, if you have, some money in the bank, you keep checking if my money is still there. Right, this happens. Some people, when they lock the door, they keep checking it if the door is still locked. Right, this is how much we worry about our valuables. And when it comes to iman, we listen to everybody, we argue with everybody. We don't need to do this. Okay, we don't need to do this. Our main point is, our main focus should be on believing in Allah. Okay, we believe in Allah and that's it. If someone tries to convince us, we don't listen to them. Okay, one last thing and inshallah I'll give you a break. One just last thing. That this is about destiny, right? The predestination, the taqdeer. Okay, there were two senior Sahaba, one of the senior most Sahaba, that they were discussing about taqdeer. That if Allah Azza wa Jal has planned everything, then why do we do this? Okay, these kind of discussions they were doing. Nabi Kareem alayhi salatu salam came to them and he heard their conversation. Okay, and these are two senior Sahaba, the biggest scholars of that time of Islam and of all the knowledges as well, all the sciences. Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, he showed them displeasure. He said, don't talk about this. This is the reason people disbelieve in Allah. Okay, point is that nowadays there are people who tell you, okay, use your mind, use logic, why are you blindly following? This is something that's taught to us by Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. That when it comes to the deen, if it says in the Quran, if it's in the hadith, okay, you have to follow it blindly. This is, like I said, iman bil ghaib. Okay, Allah Azza wa Jal has given you proofs. Okay, so it's not totally blind. You have to open your eyes and see that a creator exists. Once you believe in it, then now you should be convinced. Now there should be no reason for someone to come to you and put you in doubts. Okay, so take that with you. That once I believe that the creator exists, that's it. Okay, now I'm not going to let anybody try to convince me. And I'm going to believe that there is a God, Allah is my God, Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam is the last messenger, and Islam is my deen. Okay, because this is what we have to die with, inshallah. Okay, if you have more questions, inshallah, we can continue that in the last session that we're going to have. I think now people might be tired. We can take a short break now, inshallah.
Inshallah break till 12:35, 9 minutes. But I know it's 9 minutes not enough. It's not too much of there. It's supposed to be half an hour or maybe 20 minutes but we started very late. So inshallah we do the 10 minutes break and then we'll start inshallah namaz-e-janaza. Jazakallah khair.
ट्रैफिक भी और थोड़ा वेदर भी ऐसा क्रैश भी हुआ था किसी का उसकी वजह से भी ट्रैफिक बहुत ज़्यादा हो गया है मैं थोड़ा घूमता घुमाता है तो मुझे ड्रॉप करना था एक जगह पे आप बताइए शॉर्ट टाइम के लिए कब आपकी वापसी ये तो आए और वापस जाए मैं आप थोड़ा कैनेडा के कुछ एरियाज देखते घूमते सकते थोड़ा सा नायग्रा गया अमेरिका वाले सर्च थोड़ा टाइम और होते तो ज़्यादा मज़ा आता है यहाँ पे क्योंकि बहुत अच्छा टाइम है तो आप आए नहीं हमारे घर के टिकट में तो आप कब आएगा तो सैटरडे कल आओ हाँ कल संडे मुझे मैं थोड़ा इसलिए आज मैं थोड़ा जल्दी थोड़ा वो हमारा जो फोन है उसका साइकिल से थोड़ा बिजी टाइम लेकिन ये है कि आप जब भी आए इंशाल्लाह कोई मसला नहीं है बिल्कुल टाइम ही टाइम है जरूर है मुझे आप ऐसा है कि जब भी आप आते हैं आपके साथ मुझे मतलब अच्छी बातचीत होती है इन्जॉय करते हैं आप बताइएगा मुझे जी नहीं कोई तकलीफ
हमारे भी यहाँ पे अब खजाना मदीना है हमारे पास फर्स्ट हमारी 7th को से स्टार्ट लेकिन ज़्यादा वहाँ जा रहा हूँ थोड़ा शॉर्ट शॉर्ट है छुट्टियाँ कम लेकिन आई थिंक 1 मंथ भी
पेरेंट्स के लिए तो बहुत अच्छा है
जी
लेकिन किड्स के लिए अच्छा है
आई थिंक 1 मंथ तो हो जाता है वरना वो होता ही हमारा जो नेक्स्ट ईयर था पिछले फेस करते तो अगर ज़्यादा लंबी छुट्टी नहीं थोड़ा गैप हो जाएगा अलहमदिल्ला हमारी ग्रेजुएशन होने वाली है फर्स्ट बैच की।
तो आप टीच कर रहे हैं या आप स्टूडेंट हो?
मैं टीच कर रहा हूँ।
अच्छा माशाल्लाह। तो कौन से सब्जेक्ट?
मैं अरबिक कोर्स टीच करता हूँ, बाकी इस्लामिक रीजन्स और डिपेंड होता है पर्सन से। तो फर्स्ट बैच हमारा पाने हुआ तो 8 स्टूडेंट्स हैं, 8 आने में 100
मतलब आप एक मिनट आपका जो है वो से प्राप्त कर सकते हैं, मैं ये सोच रहा था। क्योंकि जब आप टीच कर रहे हैं ना सिर्फ आप जो है वो लेकिन की बात कर रहे हैं, तो उसमें ये कि आप जो बच्चे हैं वो उससे लर्न करते हैं, इम्प्लीमेंट कर लेते हैं तो उसका भी सवाल बहुत आप दुआ करिएगा मेरे लिए। अल्लाह ताला किसकी दुआ सुन लेते हैं मुझे मेरे घर वालों कैसा लग रहा है आपको?
पिछली बार गया था तो भी अच्छा
इसी टाइम पे अच्छे टाइम पे होते हैं।
हमारे यहाँ तो इस वक्त बहुत गर्मी है, यहाँ पर भी गर्मी फील है मुझे वैसे, लेकिन हमारे यहाँ जैसे अभी आपके 20-30 चलता है, हमारे यहाँ मतलब 40 तक जाता है। तो बाहर मतलब हीट वार्निंग ऐसी कि बाहर ना निकलना, वो बस आप बाहर निकले आपके सर में दर्द हो जाएगा और बहुत।
मैं कराची से आया हूँ।
बल्कि मैं जब कराची में था ना उस वक्त इतनी गर्मी नहीं होती, लेकिन आई थिंक क्लाइमेट चेंज वगैरह की वजह से यहाँ पर भी आई थिंक फर्स्ट टाइम इतनी गर्मी पड़ी है।
मुझे अभी तक लास्ट ईयर थोड़ा नजर आ रहा था, इतनी गर्मी शायद अगस्त में आई।
अगर जाना क्या बोलते हैं यहाँ लगवानी, अभी तो टेबल नहीं लगवानी, नमाज के बाद लगवानी। पहले नमाज
पहले उसके बाद
अस्सलातु वस्सलामु अलैका या सय्यदी या रसूल अल्लाह व अला आलिका व अस्हाबिका या सय्यदी या हबीब अल्लाह अस्सलातु वस्सलामु अलैका या सय्यदी या नबी अल्लाह व अला आलिका व अस्हाबिका या सय्यदी या नूर अल्लाह. Those of my brothers who are done with the food, inshallah tabarak ta'ala, humble request is if they can come and join the mahfil back again. Those of my brothers who are done with the food, if you have your plates or any empty glasses, inshallah tabarak ta'ala, you can throw them at the bin sitting at the back, inshallah tabarak ta'ala. Jazakumullah khair. Allah give you best jaza to join the mahfil and stay within the mahfil, inshallah, because this mahfil is related to specifically the knowledge of the deen. And the things that we are studying today or hearing from the scholar today, you're constantly into the rahmat of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Think and imagine that the mercy and rahmat of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is showered upon you constantly just to stay within the masjid. Why? Because shaitan, the devil, is most depressed when you learn something from the deen. Yes? So shaitan is being depressed and you are constantly in the mercy of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So inshallah tabarak ta'ala, even if we just stay here, even if we don't understand, let's put it that way, alhamdulillah, we understand. Even if we don't understand, we are still getting the reward. Why? Because we are in a mahfil where we are getting the knowledge of the deen, inshallah tabarak ta'ala. Now, the next session we are moving toward, it's related to our Islamic burial and then kafan and tadfeen, all of that steps. Where does it start? Sometimes we have the issue with the people, like we live here and then some family members, they live in the back homes, right? And the usual concern I see the scholars, they tell about this, they talk about this as well, that somebody dies in the back home, they hold the dead body for 3, 4, 5, 10 days at the hospitals, right? And there is no reason provided by Islam to do that, right? We need to do the burial as soon as possible. So soon as possible means we should know when to do the ghusl, how to do ghusl, yes, and then the shrouding, how is it done properly, right? What to recite in terms of mustahab, yes, and how the burial is done correctly. What are the issues that we face here, right in time if somebody dies, what to do, what to expect. Inshallah tabarak ta'ala, relating to namaz-e-janaza as well. Today, inshallah tabarak ta'ala, through this session, we'll try to achieve this. Inshallah tabarak ta'ala, I make dua Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, give ourselves tawfiq to speak the truth, and inshallah tabarak ta'ala, adopt it, inshallah. Jazakumullah khaira. Our brother will start, inshallah.
Okay, alhamdulillahi rabbil alameen, wassalatu wassalamu ala sayyidil mursaleen, amma ba'd, fa'a'udhu billahi minash shaitanir rajim, bismillahir rahmanir rahim. Okay, one more time, let's repeat after me. As-salatu wassalamu alayka ya Rasulullah, wa ala alika wa ashabika ya Habiballah. Salatu wassalamu alayka ya Nabiyallah, wa ala alika wa ashabika ya Nurallah. Okay, alhamdulillah, this session is about Ghusl Mayyit now. Okay, what do we do after the death? And if someone is dying, we see him dying, what to do first at the time of death? Because you know that after a person passes away, his body freezes. So we're going to talk about that, what to do before the body freezes. Then after, when the person has passed away, how do we prepare his kafan, his shroud? Then how do we, wash his body? And then inshallah we'll talk about the process of namaz-e-janaza and the burial process. We'll see how much time we have in this session. If we get to cover namaz-e-janaza within the session, inshallah we will. Otherwise, we'll carry it on to the next one after Zohar. Okay, but at least in this session we'll try to cover the process at the time of a person's death and after his death, inshallah. Okay, so as you can see over here, again, are the slides visible? Yeah. Okay. During the time of death, when someone is dying, okay, what we need to do is that we have to make them lie down and face the Qibla. Okay, so you have a table in front of you, for example. Okay, now let's say someone has died. Okay, now what to do is we need to make him face the Qibla. So Qibla is this way, right? You need to make him face this way when you saw him pass away. Okay, you will light up incense sticks, okay, meaning agarbatti or any other fragrance. Okay, you have the electric ones and you have the agarbatti ones, you can do those, okay, for fragrance. Okay, now this is really important because what happens usually is sometimes the body that's about to die, sometimes what happens is it gives out a bad odor as well. Okay, and when you smell a bad odor, you kind of get astonished, you kind of get disturbed. Okay, so to avoid that, we prefer to light up the incense sticks, okay, the agarbattis. Okay, I'll just continue. One more thing you can do is you can keep reciting Surah Yasin. Okay, if you know the person is about to die, recite Surah Yasin in front of him. And then if you see that he is also in the agonies of death, okay, because death is painful. So first you're going to recite Surah Yasin as much time as you can, as many times as you can. And if you see that the person is in pain, then recite Surah Ra'ad as well. Surah Ra'ad prevents a person from facing the agonies of death. Okay, and then you will recite Kalima Tayyibah. Okay, Ashhadu an la ilaha illallah, Ashhadu an la ilaha illallah, wa Ashhadu anna Muhammadar Rasulullah in front of him. Okay, what is this for? This is because a person is dying, and as a Muslim brother, we should care for him, and we should make sure, we should try our best that the last words he says are La ilaha illallah. Right? So don't tell him to say, hey, recite the kalima, recite. Don't say this. Instead, what you should do, you should chant La ilaha illallah, La ilaha illallah, Muhammadur Rasulullah. And we'll hope that he remembers it, and then he can recite it himself before dying. Okay, so this is during the time of death. Yes. Yeah, neck only. Yes, neck only. Yeah, right. And now, at the time of the death, okay, but before the body freezes. Just 1 second, let this come up. Okay, I'll still continue while this comes up. When the person has died, okay, now you know that the soul has left the body. What you should do is you're gonna close the eyes of the dead body if they're open, okay? Because if they're open, like I said, the body freezes after death, right? So if the eyes are open, they're gonna stay open. Okay, so you will, with your fingers, with your hands, you will close his eyes and recite Bismillahi wa ala millati Rasulillah. Okay, this is a dua you will recite. And you will tie a strip from his jaw on his to his head. Okay, so tie from anything, any cloth you have, like make a tie over here so that his mouth does not stay open. Okay, again, the body freezes after death. So if his mouth is open, it's going to stay open, okay, forever. So, because when the body, the thing is, when we're alive, we have a blood flow, right? The blood is flowing throughout our body. We have life in every single body part, right? So we can move our body parts easily. We can open and close our mouth whenever needed. Okay, but when a person dies, his blood flow stops. His organs obviously stop responding, and he has no soul. Okay, so like I said, that when the soul leaves the body, then the blood flow stops, the organs, they stop responding, and the person freezes. Okay, so before he freezes, we have to make sure that, you know, his body is in a good shape. Okay, so first thing we did was we closed the eyes, and then we're gonna tie something from his mouth to his head, right? So that his mouth does not stay open. Okay, then we position the face towards Qibla. This was already mentioned. Okay, and then we'll straighten the fingers, hands, and feet of the deceased. Okay, like, so let's say he died in this day, like his fingers were like in a fist. Okay, so what you should do, you should open up his hands, okay, and then make sure that they're straight, like he should be lying down straight. Okay, do not put his hand on his chest. This is not an Islamic way. His hands should be on the sides. Okay, and like I said, you should straighten his fingers, hands, and then feet. Make sure everything is straight. Okay, and then you will join the toes of both feet. Okay, from the big toe. Okay, you will tie something in those big toes. Okay, and again, this is because, like I said, the body freezes, so the feet are in a good shape. So that's why we'll tie the two big toes as well, so that everything is in a good position. Then, lastly, in this stage, what we'll do is we'll place something heavy on his stomach. Okay, why? Because usually what happens is after death, the stomach starts swelling up, it starts bloating up. Okay, so to prevent that, we try to put something heavy on the person's stomach so that it stays in a good shape. Okay, next. Now the person has passed away. So this is a list of the items that you will need. I'll quickly go through them, and then inshallah, if you want to take a picture or if you want to write it down, I'll give you a few seconds for that. Okay, first thing you need is a bench for ghusl. Okay, because we'll need to wash the body, so you need something a little bit stronger than this, obviously, because if you put the body on this, this might collapse, but you get the point, right? Something like this. Then you need some joss sticks, okay, like agarbatti. Okay, you need a matchbox or a lighter. Okay, then you need 2 thick sheets. I'll tell you the purpose of each of this. Okay, it is better if they are dark brown. Okay, 2 thick sheets. It is better if they are dark brown. You need cotton wool, 2 large cloths for istinja and other purposes. Okay, istinja means to make the person get rid of his excretory requirements. Okay, 2 buckets with warm water. Okay, now this warm water does not need to be boiling hot. It cannot be boiling hot, and it cannot be really cold either. It has to be lukewarm that is tolerable. Okay, you need 2 mugs. Then you need a soap. Okay, you need jujube leaves. Okay, this is called berry leaves in Urdu. Okay, you need 2 towels. You need a shroud. Okay, a kafan. We have that, we'll show you. You need scissors, threads and needle. Okay, you need camphor. This is a type of fragrance. Okay, and then you need any other ither type fragrance. Okay, so this is the list of items that we need. I'll go back in case if you need to take a picture or jot this down. Okay, again, these are the things that we need. Okay. Yes, that's good. Okay. Next is who should perform the ghusl. Okay, so the person is dead and we need to wash his body, we need to give him ghusl. Who will be the one that's going to perform the ghusl? Okay, the preference is that the children of the deceased, they should perform the ghusl. Now this is a good thing that, mashallah, you all are present over here today, because many of us don't even know how to give ghusl, right? So this is the opportunity to learn, because it is preferred that the children of the mayyit should give the ghusl. Okay, like it says that sons should perform the ghusl for their father, and the daughters should do the ghusl for their mother. Okay, number 2, if the children obviously do not know how to give ghusl, then it has to be someone who's trustworthy, and he won't gossip about the bad things they see while showering. Now see, obviously what happens is when we are living, okay, we have like clothes on our body, we have control over our body, what we show people, what we don't show people, right? But when a person is dead, okay, he does not have any control, he's dead, right? He cannot move. So let's say he has something on his body that he was trying to hide. Like for example, he had a any deficiency on his chest or something, any mark that was on his chest or on his hands or whatever. Right? He's trying to hide this from people. Now, whenever someone is giving ghusl to the mayyit, right, he has to be a trustworthy person. He has to be a sincere person. He cannot be telling other people that, oh, that person who I gave ghusl to, I saw this in his body. Okay, no, this is between you and the person. This is something that is a secret. Okay, so if the children of the mayyit are not there, okay, then who should give the ghusl? Someone who's trustworthy. Okay, and then third is someone who does not have ghusl farz on them, and someone with wuzu. Okay, so it's preferred that your ghusl is not farz on you and you have wuzu. This is something that you need to make sure before giving the ghusl. Okay, now 4 things we need to make sure before carrying out the ghusl of the mayyit. First thing is that we will light up some agarbatti sticks, okay, incense sticks, and go around the ghusl bed, this bench that we have, 3 times or 5 times or 7 times. The more you do, the better it is. Again, the point is that we're trying to make the environment as fragrant as possible, so that if there is any bad odor, it can go away. Okay, then second thing we're going to do is we're going to lay the deceased person on this bench. Okay, then what we're going to do is we're going to remove his clothes, okay, gently. And if his clothes are not coming off, if his body is really frozen, it can happen sometimes, okay, then you will cut the clothes and take it out. Okay, but this is a really important point. But the satar of the deceased must remain covered. Okay, what is satar? Satar means the private part. Okay, which private part in English in our culture, okay, private part, the region, the space, the area is just, small. But in Islam, the private part for man starts right below the navel until including the knees. Okay, from right below the navel until including the knees. These are your private parts according to Islam. Okay, you cannot show them to anybody. Okay, so now when there is a deceased person, obviously you're going to have to take off his clothes, right? But you have to make sure that you don't expose his private parts either. So that's where the 2 brown chadars will come in, the ones that we discussed in the beginning. Okay, that you will put them between from his navel to his knees. You'll cover those things and then remove everything else. Okay, and the point for this is to prevent the exposing the satar. Okay, and that's the point number 4. Cover the body from navel to below the knees with a thick cloth of dark color. Okay, why are we choosing a dark color? Why not just put a white cloth? Because obviously when you put water, the white color becomes transparent and then you can see through it. Okay, so what do we say? We say it's better to have a dark color, and that to fold that chadar so that it doesn't stick to the private parts of the person. And there's no bepardagi over here. Okay. We have 7 stages. Inshallah, I'll show you the practical as well in a while. There's 7 stages to do ghusl of the deceased. Okay, first thing is that we have to do istinja of the deceased. Okay, what does that mean? That means we have to get rid of all the waste that are there in the person's body. Okay, now what to do is you should have a cloth wrapped up in your hands. Okay, and you should press his stomach and the lower stomach and make sure that all the urine or stool that is still in his body comes out. Okay, and then you can wash it off. Okay, we'll kind of show you how to do that in the practical. Okay, then number 2 is to do wudu of the deceased. Okay, now see, the way we do wudu is we wash our mouth first and then we sniff water up our nose. Okay, you won't do that for the mayyit. You'll just do 4 things. Okay, you'll wash his face, you'll wash his hands including the elbows. Okay, you'll wipe his head and you'll wash his feet. Okay, these are the only 4 things you will do for the mayyit. Okay, what are the 4 things? You'll wash his face. Okay, mainly you're skipping the first 2 things. Just obviously, how is he gonna wash his mouth, right? He's dead. If you put water in his mouth, it's gonna go down. And how is he gonna sniff water? He's dead, right? So just skip the first 2 things. Okay, wash his face. Okay, wash his hands up to the elbows, including, and then wipe his head and wash his feet. Okay. But yes, the cotton ball that we had, what you will do is you can wipe his mouth with the cotton ball and his nose as well. Okay, instead of washing, you'll just wipe it with a cotton ball. Then you can wash the hair and beard of the deceased. Okay, his hair and beard. Then you will lay the deceased on his left side and wash the right side. And then number 5 says to lay the deceased on the right side to wash the left side. Okay, so let me go up over here to kind of give you an idea. Okay, so let's say I'm over here and there's a person lying down. Okay, and someone is washing the body. Okay, so let's say his head is over here and his feet are over here. Okay, now in order to wash the person, first we're gonna have to wash the right side, right? So we'll pick up the person this way and yeah, you can start the practical. Okay, yes. MashaAllah. Not wash, you have to wipe your ears, right? Yes. But you can, but you don't need to. You just need to wipe the head. Okay, so start from the beginning? Okay. Yeah, so we can start from the beginning. So what did we do first? Let me go back so that everybody can see. वो तो हो गया नीट items. So we laid the deceased on the bench. Okay. Number 3 says we remove the clothes or cut them gently. Okay. So you can remove the clothes. If not, then you can cut them and then remove his clothes. Okay. And then you'll cover the body from the navel to knees. Okay, and we have a white, but like we said, a dark brown one or any dark color one is preferred. Okay, so you will cover the area from the navel to knees like this. Okay? Because obviously the clothes will be removed. This is the only covering that your deceased has. Okay? And now when we pour water over this, this is a good cloth, it's white, this is not going to be transparent. So this is okay, but it's preferred that it's dark colored so that, we have no problems. So we covered from his navel to knees, okay? This is what we're going to do. And his clothes are removed. Okay, and next. Yes, okay, we'll do istinja, and you'll need to have you can use gloves, or if you don't have gloves, you can just cut from the kafan and then tie it around your hand. Okay, so you have the gloves, okay, and you will put your hand through the towel or whatever cloth we have put, and you will get his istinja done, okay? I explain what we do in the istinja. Then you will make the wuzu of the deceased, okay? So you have water, okay, and it's preferred that there are 2 people, inshallah, will cover that too. One person will put the water and the other person will, wipe his head. So, so Hafiz Sahab will put the water, and then, for example, he's putting the water. One person will, make sure the water reaches all sides of his face. Okay, so his face is done. Then we'll wash his hands. Okay, so, we'll wash his hands like this. Other hand as well. We'll wash his other hand as well. Okay, and then we'll wipe his head. And then we'll wash the feet. Okay, so we'll wash the feet. Okay, number 3, we wash the beard, and so same thing, he's going to put water and we'll wash the beard and hair of the deceased. Okay, now number 4, we'll lay the deceased on the left side to wash his right side. Okay, so this is really important because we need to make sure the right side of you and the deceased is the same. Okay, so see, I'm facing this way. Okay, so is the body. Okay, this is my right side. Okay, and we have to wash this side. So what we'll do, we'll tilt him towards the left. Okay, you will need some people to do this. You will tilt him towards the left a little bit. Okay, you don't need to do it fully. Okay, just a little bit. And then one person will drop water, and then the other person will wash. Okay, that's good. But make sure that the parda is intact. Okay, this should be intact. Okay, you should not just expose his satar. Okay, so what did we do? We made him face the left side. We washed his right side. We'll do the same thing on the other side. We'll make him face his right. Okay, and we should make sure that his sitar is intact. Okay, and we'll wash his left side. Okay, make sure the water reaches each and every place, because that's important. Okay. Number 6, to move your hand gently on the lower part of the stomach after making him sit by giving support in his back. Okay, so you will make him go a little bit up and you'll push down his stomach. Okay, this is because if there's anything left again in his stomach, it can come out. Okay, if something comes out, then just wash it off. Okay, then number 7 is you will pour camphor water, okay, the kafur water, from the head to the feet. Okay, so in your water, you'll mix the kafur smell, and then from head to the feet, you will put the kafur water. Okay, this is also fragrant. Yes. You can use soap as well if you wash. You don't need to, but you can. Okay, when we're washing the head, you can use shampoo as well, but you don't need to. Okay. Yes. No, you don't need to do wudu again. You will just, whatever comes out, you will just wash it off. Okay, that's why we have the glove. Okay, and yeah, you need to make sure that it doesn't touch your body obviously, and least amount of things are touched. But when you wash it off, the bench will become pak, because that's how much water you should flow on it, that you're sure that all the najasat has gone away. Okay, now we're gonna look at the kafan. Okay, because we have washed the body fully. Again, when we made him lay down on his right side and left side, we made sure that all of his, each and every inch of his body is washed properly. Now we're gonna look at the kafan. Okay, while they prepare, I'll tell you the components that we have. Okay, a man has mainly three chadars in his kafan. Okay, one is like a big chadar, second one is a smaller chadar, and third one is a qamis. Okay, the big chadar is also called lifafa. Okay, the small chadar is known as izar, and we'll show you each of these. And the third chadar is known as qamis. Okay, obviously you will have a big cloth. Is qamis? Okay. They already cut it. Cut kiya na? Huh. Okay. Okay. The thing is, firstly, when you get the kafan, okay, do not get a pre-made kafan from the market, because that may not fit your body. Okay, what you need to do is you need to get like a big chadar like this, a huge chadar, and then you will cut it according to the height and width of the mayyit. Okay, so first what you'll do, I'll explain each of these things. Okay, it's better if you have like an inch tape, or if you don't have an inch tape, then get like a string. Okay, so first thing you need to do is measure the body from his head to his toe. Okay, measure the body from his head to toe, and leave a few space, like leave 4 inches on each side. Okay, so let's say for example I have an inch tape and I see that, let's say this comes out to be 6 feet, to be easy. Okay, from head to toe this comes out to be 6 feet. Okay, so what should we do? We should cut the cloth 6 feet and 8 inches. Okay, 4 inches on this side and 4 inches on that side. This is the big chadar, lifafa. Okay, length is the height of the person plus 2 hands. Okay, 2 hands you can say 4 inches. Okay, so 4 inches on each side, so 8 inches. Okay, and the width should be the 3 times the width of the person. Okay, 3 times the width of the person. So for example, you'll measure him from here. Okay, let's say this is 2 feet. Okay, the width is 2 feet, so we'll multiply that by 3. Okay, so what should the width of our kapra be? 6. Okay, so just estimate that 3 of these kind of people can lay down. Okay, so width should be 6 if this is 2 feet. Okay, that's the big chadar, lifafa, and you'll see why we are measuring and cutting like this. Then number 2 is the small chadar, known as the izar. Okay, izar should be exactly according to the height of the person. So we assume that our body is 6 feet, right? So our izar will be 6 feet as well. Okay, for safe side you can leave like 2 or 3 inches extra. Okay, just for safe side, because in cutting you can reduce the amount. So for example, he's 6 feet, you can just cut a kapra of 6 feet and 2 or 3 inches. Okay, this is izar, for example. Okay, and then lastly we have qamis. Now the way you measure qamis is that you will count his shoulder to below his knees, right? So we have his shoulder right here. We'll put an inch tape or a string of thread, okay, and then measure up to his knees. Okay, like for example, show me kapra. Let's say this one, like I started from his shoulder, okay, and then you can see I've doubled it, and this is where his knees end. Okay, so you can leave a little bit space. Okay, so we'll cut it from here. Okay, and make sure this is doubled. Okay, you have to double it. You'll see why. Because I'll just tell you. Because what we'll do is we will make his collar from here, neck from here, so that we can make him wear this. Okay, qamis is just like the qamis that we wear, the kurta. Okay, the only difference is that we don't have sleeves in the kafan qamis. We don't have stitching on the side. Okay, there's no stitching, there's no sleeves. The only hole we will have will be over here. Okay, so look, my kafan that I have is like this, right? What you will do is you will stitch it up. Okay, you'll stitch it up and you will join these 2 ends. So now it will be just one chadar, and then you can leave this space. okay, according to the head of the mayyit. Okay, you can leave this space so that his head can fit through. Okay, and we'll show you how to put the mayyit in the kafan as well. But right now we're just measuring. Yes. Kafan silai kar sakte hain, yes, you can. Yes. ठीक है, कोई मसला नहीं, सी you can stitch it, no problem. If you want to stitch it, like for example, like this is what I have, right? Now what can I do? I have to stitch it, otherwise it's not going to work. So stitching is not a problem. You can stitch the kafans. If you obviously if you have a good kafan that you don't need to stitch, then that's easier for you, but you can stitch it. Okay, stitching is not a problem. Okay, so we had 3 chadars. Okay, one was the lifafa. Lifafa was the big chadar. Okay, that's height of the person plus 8 more inches, for example. Okay, a little bit extra. Izar is exactly equal to the height of the person, and I told you just leave a few inches for safe side. And then we have qamis. Qamis is from his shoulder to his knees, but then doubled. Okay, because we have to put the mayyit in there. Okay, and if you have the remaining cloth, then you can create handkerchiefs like small napkins or the ties that you can see in the brother's hands. Okay, we'll tie the kafan at the end. Okay. इनको उठा दे शोएब भाई, कफन रखना है. Okay, so basically what happens is after you're done with the ghusl table and the kafan will be 2 different places, right? So first thing you're going to do is you're going to light up the agarbatti again. Okay, and you'll move it around the shroud. You'll move it around the cloth. Okay, again we're trying to make it as fragrant as possible. Okay, first what we're going to do is we're going to put the ties. Okay, I'm telling you how to lay down the kafan. Okay, we'll put the ties on the very bottom. Okay, one for the feet area, one in the middle, and one towards the head. Okay, then the bigger chadar, the lifafa, okay, the one that was equal to the height plus 2 hands. Okay, and if you remember, the width was 3 times the width of the mayyit. Okay, so you can see the body was almost equal to this table. So I have a few inches extra over here and a few inches extra over there. Okay, that's the first chadar, the biggest chadar that you have. Okay, you'll lay it down after you lay down the ties. Then second comes izar. Okay, this was exactly equal to the height of the mayyit. Again. Okay, you can see this chadar was big. Okay, bigger than the height of the deceased. And this is exactly equal to the height of the deceased. Okay, and we left a little bit more for a safe side. Okay, and then you have a qamis. Okay, the way qamis will work is you can start from this end from the knees. इसको पीछे, ये qamis है ना? जी, ठीक, इसको knees से शुरू करते हैं. Like from here, this end should start at the knees. Okay, just estimate where the knees of the mayyit will be. Okay, and that will remain hanging. Okay, now what you should do is basically, let's say, because if you remember, the way we counted the qamis was, we counted from his shoulder to his knees, right? And then we're gonna insert his head from this area. Okay, so you'll put a cut over here and you will make a hole in this place. Okay. Oh. जी. Body. Yes, yeah. This is, we have a smaller kafan, but you'll understand the concept of qamis. Okay. Cut लगा देते हैं इसमें ऊपर. So let's assume that our the shoulder of the mayyit was over here, and the knees of the mayyit were over here, right? So this is basically going to cover for him from his shoulder to his knees. Okay, so we're just going to put a cut over here, and then you'll basically make a hole. Big enough that the mayyit's head can fit through this hole. Okay, as you can see, we made a hole over here. This is obviously this should be longer, but just to clear the concept, this is how you will do it. Okay, so you lay it down over here like this, and then you will open it up. Okay, you'll open it up so that you can put the mayyit and then put his head through this hole. Okay, so before we put the our model down, we'll, like I said, we'll light up the joss sticks, the agarbatti around the shrouds. Okay, we'll keep the strips of clothing first. Then we put the izar, we put the lifafa, the biggest chadar. Then we put the izar, and then finally we put the qamis. Okay, now let's talk about how to carry out the process of shrouding. Okay, you'll place the deceased on the shroud. Okay, so obviously your deceased will not be standing. Some people will have to carry him and put him on the shrouding place. ठीक है? आ जाएंगे. Okay, and when they make him lie down, you'll make sure that his head goes through this hole. Okay, and we got to make sure that his head goes through this. Let me see. Okay. Okay, like I said, you understand the concept of kameez, right? This is two sides. Okay, it's like in the back it's like a cape, and then in front is like, you know, an apron. Okay, so it's just like a kameez that we wear, like a kurta. Okay, only thing is that it does not have sleeves nor any stitching on the sides. Okay, once you place the mayyit on the table, on whatever you're doing the shrouding on. Okay, before putting this down, what you need to do is you need to write the first kalima on the chest of the mayyit with your finger. Okay, do not use ink. With your finger, just like write La ilaha illallah on his chest. Okay, with the index finger. On his chest, write La ilaha illallah with your finger. Do not use any ink, obviously. Okay, and you need to write Ya Rasulullah on his heart. Okay, so you know, just estimate where the heart of the mayyit will be. It's usually on the left side. Okay, so with your fingers, write Ya Rasulullah. Okay, again, do not use ink. If you do not know how to write it, then you should have someone who knows how to write it. No, it should be in Arabic. Okay, in Arabic script, you should write La ilaha illallah in Arabic, Lam alif, okay, and then Ya Rasulullah, Ya alif, okay, like this. Ya Rasulullah. Okay, on the heart. Okay, now you'll clothe the deceased in qameez. Okay, so we made him wear the qameez now. Okay, and we'll write Bismillah on the forehead with our index finger. Okay, with our index finger we'll write Bismillah, again in Arabic script, not in English. Okay, then we'll write the name of the mashayikh. Okay, whatever Pir Sahib he was bayat with. For example, if he was bayat with Sheikh Abdul Qadir Jilani, Ghaus-e Azam, then we will write the name of Ghaus-e Azam on this part. Okay, between the chest and his stomach, or his navel. Okay, this part. We'll write Ya Ghaus-e Azam or any name of his mashayikh. Okay, number 8. You will apply the camphor on those body parts on which sajda is performed. Okay, so like for example the forehead. This is where a person performs sajda, on the nose. Okay, so we'll apply the camphor fragrant on his nose and then on his feet as well. Okay, and then now we're gonna start wrapping up. Okay, so we already put the qameez of the person. Now you're gonna wrap up the izar. Okay, first you're gonna start off with the right side. Okay, you're gonna put the right side first, and then you'll put the left side. Okay, again, as you can see, the width is not that much. That's why we told you to have a little bit wide. Okay, then you're gonna wrap the bigger chadar, the lifafa. वो तो खोल दिए थे, टाई किए हुए थे ना शुरू में. Okay, so first wrap the right side, then wrap the left side. Okay, and then you'll tie it up. इसको गोल घुमा दो. हाँ सही था. यहाँ से. Okay, then you'll tie it up. That's why we put the ties first. Okay, you'll tie it up. Yes. This will, yeah, ghusl, the ghusl mein, the funeral homes or there are facilities to get this done. But in our countries, they usually do this at homes, in their houses, right? In Pakistan, India. Okay, everybody clear? Do you need to see this one more time, how to wrap? Okay. Okay, so these were the 9 steps of shrouding the deceased. Okay, now the precautions. The precautions are that keep in mind that to a dead person, okay, even if a fly comes and comes on his body, this is equal to a weight of the mountain. Point is that he feels really heavy. Like for example, if I touch this, okay, I'm touching this to Shoaib bhai, right? He, mashallah, is alive, so he does not feel pain. Okay, but if you do the same thing to a dead body, okay, they will feel a lot of pain. Okay, the reason to tell you this is that if you're doing this process, be really careful. Do not put useless weight on the mayyit because he will feel a lot of pain. Okay. Secondly, keeping the parda of the body is really important. Okay, as you can see, we had put the cloth on from his navel to the knees. Okay, that is really important. Do not expose his sitar for no reason. Okay. Number 3, use soap and shampoo only if it's necessary. Okay, unnecessarily, do not use it. It's permissible to use soap and shampoo, but if it's not necessary, then there's no need to use it. Okay, and lastly, make sure the water reaches every part of the body. If you remember, we made the person lie down towards his left and we washed his right part, and then we made him face the right and we washed his left side. Okay, make sure the water reaches every part of the body. Okay, if you need to use your hand to make the water reach those places that you think the water is not going to reach, then you can put your hands. Okay, but if you're trying to touch his private parts, okay, which is from a cloth in between, you can touch any other part directly. Okay, but from navel to the knees, you will need to use something in between. You cannot directly touch the dead body's private part. You will need to either wear gloves. If you don't have gloves, then cut a part of the coffin and wrap it around your hand, and then you can touch it. Okay, one more thing, that you are allowed to obviously look at the dead body, right? Obviously, you will have to do the process. But our ulama say that you should not look unnecessarily here and there, because again, it's the same thing that I said in the beginning. There might be something that the dead body is trying to hide, okay, and it may become evident on you, and that's something that he may not want. Okay, looking at the private part is haram in all cases, right? You're not supposed to look at the navel to the knees at any cost. Okay, but even the parts that you're allowed to look at, do not look unnecessarily. Okay, why? Because again, there might be something that he's trying to hide. Okay, and you will see it. For reason like, for example, if you're trying to wash him and you lift his hand up so that the water can reach his armpit, okay, obviously this is required, so you will have to look. But for no reason, do not look around the mayyit's body. Do we have time for Salat Janazah? So we can cover Salat Janazah as well? Okay, inshallah. You can use shower as well, but again, make sure the pressure is not too much, because the mayyit feels a lot of pain. Okay, you can use a shower as well. जी. Okay, the method of making the istinja of the mayyit is that obviously, if you remember, we had put a cloth from his navel to the knees, right? If you want to put water on there, okay, you'll lightly lift up the cloth, and then some other brother will put water, and then you will make sure that you clean. Okay, again, you will need to use something in between. You cannot touch his private parts directly. Okay, so the front part and the back part, you will wash them. Okay, obviously you'll slip your hand under the cover, and then with water you will wipe them. Yes. Yeah, before wrapping the body. He asked me like to repeat the process again. Yes, ghusl happens first, and then you'll wrap up the body. Okay. Yes. Yes. You can dry the body before you're gonna put him in the shroud. That's why we had towels. Okay, so the body is wet. You can dry it again. Make sure not to put too much pressure because that hurts the dead body. Okay. You can lightly tap it dry, and then you can put it in the shrouds. Yes. Yeah, see, there are some things that you need to do, right? Like, for example, when we do ghusl, obviously it's not going to happen in the same table. Right now, we're just showing a model. That's why we're doing it on the same place. But for example, let's say this is my shrouding station. Okay, my ghusl station will be somewhere else. That's all wet. Okay, then they're going to carry the body and they're going to bring it to the shrouding station. But over here, obviously, since we're bringing him from there to here, obviously we're going to not drop him but put him down. And that's going to cause pressure, but this is something that's required, right? We cannot do it without it. So whatever is required, we can do. There's no other option. But still, we have to be as careful as possible because the mayyit gets really sensitive. They feel a lot of pain.
Like you said, we have to make sure the water reaches every part of the body. Because sometimes body freezes, and we cannot move his hands or fingers. In that situation, what should we do?
Yes, you'll try to make sure as much as possible that the water, like for example, his hands are frozen, then you'll try your best. Okay, usually, like if you have skin, the body freezes. Okay, like for example, if your hands freeze, okay, the bones and the muscles freeze. Okay, but your skin still has some movement. Okay, so if you put water, usually the water goes through with a little bit movement. Usually it will go through. Warm water, yes. That's why we're using warm water, because warm water tends to go through more. And again, it does not need to be burning. It cannot be burning hot. Okay, again, the mayyit gets really sensitive. It has to be lukewarm. It's tolerable. Okay? Yeah, if there are any jewelries on the person, good, mashallah. These masala are usually for the women's side, but nowadays we might have faced the situation. If, like for example, your mayyit has earrings, a man has earrings, then you will have to remove those before ghusl. Okay, if he has a nose ring or anything else, you have to remove. Any removable thing you will have to remove. Okay? Yes, you'll try to remove it too, but if it is possible, if it's not coming off, like for example, it's in his tongue, then you're not going to open the mouth. But yes, for women it does say, like for example, if a woman has a ring, okay, men have these things as well. So if the ring is not coming off, then you will somehow need to cut it, break it, and take it off. Okay, again, make sure you don't hurt the mayyit. Yeah, usually if the tattoos are, like for example, obviously tattoos are not removable, right? If it's like a sticker or something, then you will need to remove. Like for example, if for women this masla is there, that if they're nail polish, right, then they have to use some rubbing alcohol or some nail polish remover to remove that. So if he has those temporary tattoos, the ones that just stick on your body and then they just wash off after a while, so you will need to remove them if you can. Sorry? Are tattoos halal, are you, sir? Yeah, no, tattoos are not allowed. The permanent tattoos in Islam. Yes. Yes, good question. Good question, mashallah. For the ghusl, washing the body once, each and every part. This is farz. Washing it 3 times is sunnah. Okay, this whole process is farz kifaya, meaning that if a few people do it, if one person does it, it suffices for all the Muslims in that town. If nobody does it, then the entire town, the entire community will become a sinner. Okay, in fact, I'll tell you something interesting. Like I said, that the entire it's the responsibility of the Muslims of the area to give ghusl and kafan to the person. It's farz kifaya. Okay, let's say someone drowns in the water. Okay, and the water is pure, for example. Okay, then obviously he is washed. Okay, the mayyit's ghusl will be done, but the responsibility on the Muslim still stays. Okay, let's say a person is drowned. Then what should they do? They should move him in the water 3 times to get free from their responsibility, that they did something to wash the mayyit. Okay, this is how important this is. That even if the person is drowned, you have to move him 3 times in the water and then take him out. Otherwise, your farz kifaya will not count. His ghusl will be done, but you will still get the gunah for now washing the deceased. Because you have to wash. Okay, yes. Yes, if the body is damaged or if there is any, like for example, if you're washing the body and like, because obviously you're going to move your hands around it, right? If you think the skin is going to come off, then don't touch the skin. Okay, just pour water. If you think that putting water is going to, damage the body as well, then just you will do tayammum on that part with clay. At the time of death? Usually, yeah, you can continue the ghusl if the mayyat is bleeding. That's not going to be an issue. Shaheed in a war? Yes. But nowadays we don't have this. Yes.
वो जो जिहाद में शहीद हुआ इस्लाम को फैलाने की खातिर उससे मुसलमान इस्लाम को फैलाने की अब ज़रूरत नहीं रही ना मैं आपको यही समझा रहा हूँ कि इस्लाम अब फैल चुका इस्लाम मुकम्मल हो चुका कुरान पाक नाजिल हो चुका अब
शहीद को जी यही फरमाने शहीद अब वो वाली सिचुएशन है नहीं तो जो जैसे हादसे में शहीद हो जाए या फिर किसी कार एक्सीडेंट में या फायर में या ड्राउनिंग में शहीद हो जाए तो वो ये वाला शहीद वो उस शहीद के बारे में ये नहीं है यानी जैसे कोविड से जो जिनको इंतकाल हुआ उनको भी शहीद कहा जाता है कोविड की वजह से या कोई कैंसर की वजह से कि ये शहीद हो गए या किसी ने शूट कर दिया तो शहीद हो गए तो वो ये वाले शहीद नहीं है वो मतलब उनकी फजीलत है ये जी आज वाले वो शहीद जिसको शहीद कहते हैं उसको गुस्सा देना पड़ेगा बैक इन द डे लाइक फॉर एग्जांपल बदर के वक्त बैटल ऑफ बदर जो शहीद हुए और बैटल ऑफ उहद में उनका अलग मसला है नहीं उनको उसी में उनकी फजीलत यही है कि उनको जिस कपड़े में हो उसी में दफन किया जाए यस या then how can you do the ghusl and kafan you should not because that will be deceiving people, right? If you say that this is the grave of a person but he's not actually in there, this is like lying and deceiving people. So, no. Yes. Yes, but yeah, if he meets all the requirements of the literal shaheed. Okay, there are some shuhada that are metaphorical shaheed. Okay, that become shaheed metaphorically, like like I said, COVID or someone shoots them or cancer or whatever. That's also called shaheed. But yes, if they're trying to spread Islam or protect Islam and then they pass away and they die in that war, then yes, you will not give them ghusl or kafan. You'll put them the way they are in the grave. उस मैयत को भी गुस्ल दिया जाएगा we will give ghusl to the मैयत as well in proper तो उसका equipment होता है ना like you have those dresses that you can wear obviously like for example if there is a calamity any pandemic that can spread forward the doctors also try to keep away but they have that gear that uniform that they can wear and then do their procedure नहीं तो भी दिया जाएगा ये फर्ज़ किफ़ाया है because see, the spreading of the bimari is also Allah Azza wa Jal's choice. Okay, without the permission of Allah, no bimari can move forward. Okay, this is something that Allah Azza wa Jal has mandated Muslims to do in that community. Okay, so we will have to do this. We will have to give ghusl mayyat to the deceased, even if you fear that the disease will spread, because again, disease spreads because by the hukum of Allah. I think Junaid had a question first. This is just a tradition. It's yeah, janaba does not come. I'll see this. Not really. You can, yes.
And then the organ removal, sometimes, I do not know how the society works here because this is new to me as well. If you die tomorrow, for example, you go to the hospital or to the funeral home, right? Will they actually remove your organs from inside, like they will leave the body empty? Or like you have the choice for it. I mean, sometimes you have a home coming home that if you die, you can donate your liver or whatever organ you want to donate. So does that matter anything to the or do we don't really care? That's how the
Yeah, no. Removing the organs are not allowed, whether a person is living or he after his death. After his death is more, like I said, that obviously in order to remove the organs, you'll have to cut up the body and then remove the organs. Obviously, this is going to cause a lot of pain to the deceased. Okay, as Muslims, basically the thing is that our body is a property of Allah Ta'ala. Okay, this is not our property. So our kidneys, our lungs, all these things belong to Allah Ta'ala. Okay, we're not owners of our body. So obviously, like for example, like let's say this television, this is not mine, right? I cannot say, oh yeah, I give it to you as a gift because you asked a really good question. I can't do that because it's not mine. Similarly, my kidneys, my lungs, my organs are not mine. They're Allah Azza wa Jalla. Allah Azza wa Jalla gave it only for me. Okay, after a person is dead, the only thing is that you have to put him in the grave. Yeah, you can never donate the organs. Even this masla is written in the burial process that even if any organ, any limb of the person comes off during ghusl because he's damaged, okay, you will also bury that with the person. Okay, because once it's his, okay, and it's going to go in his grave. So organ donation is not allowed, neither for living nor deceased. Yeah, there is an app on App Store and it's called Tajhizu Takfeen. You can download this and they have, yeah, it has short steps, short videos, like 10-minute videos and 15-minute videos, inshallah. You can download the app. If you don't find the app, you can talk to me after. Yes. जी, नबियों का गुस्ल करते हैं. Right, makes sense that it's not going to harm you, but the main concept goes back to this principle that it's not ours. Like for example, I know, let's say, like whoever owns this TV has a lot of money. Even if I gift it to someone else, he can replace this TV without any problem. Okay, but still, I'm not allowed to gift this to someone else because it's not mine. Okay. Yeah, but again, it's not yours to give. I understand what you're saying. It makes sense that you're trying to save a life, but it's not yours. This is Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala's property. We can't just give it away.
If you have lots of money, but it's not yours, somebody gave it to you just to keep it safe, and someone asked for money, like $100,000, yeah, they are not mine, but I can give it. Does it make sense? Your amana. Exactly. So
Yeah,
the body is your amana. Is amana from Allah. It's not yours. So you cannot give it to anyone.
Yeah, donating the blood is allowed in drastic situations. If that someone is going to die, or if there is a problem, then yes. But selling the blood or donating the blood for no reason, this is not allowed. If you know that there is a problem for a certain purpose, then yes, donating blood, you can do this. Yeah, Azan Zohar, inshallah. We'll continue sessions after, inshallah. After Zohar, inshallah.
Allah أكبر الله أكبر الله أكبر أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله أشهد أن محمد رسول الله أشهد أن محمد رسول الله حي على الصلاة حي على الصلاة حي على الفلاح حي على الفلاح الله أكبر الله أكبر لا إله إلا الله اللهم رب هذه الدعوة التامة والصلاة القائمة آت سيدنا محمد الوسيلة والفضيلة والدرجة الرفيعة وبأسه مقاما محمودا الذي وعدته وارزقنا شفاعته يوم القيامة إنك لا تخلف الميعاد.